What's going on, guys? Bobby here. I'm the new builder here at Dave's Engines. I'm from Western Maryland. I have 5.5 years race engine building experience at a shop out of Western Maryland doing small bore race motors. And today I'll be walking you through how to build this Land Cruiser motor. So right here, I'm checking ring gap on the top rings using a taper feeler blade, keeping track of all my measurements and everything. Saw me use the piston to square it up in the bore to make sure I'm getting the most accurate reading possible. Doing the second rings now, same process, squaring them up. And keeping track of my measurements and everything. It's best to be as organized as possible with anything like this. See me setting up the dial bore gauge so I can check my piston to wall clearance. I had mic'd the pistons previous to that. There I am checking it in the middle. I check it at the top and the bottom. These engines have different width bearings for every single main journal, so you saw me with the dial indicators, just checking the width, making sure I'm putting every single one in the correct position. I like to use a lint-free paper towel and a little bit of brake clean to clean off the main journals and everything. Just make sure there's nothing in there that could have possibly gotten there after the machining process, anything like that, just some quality reassurance. See me measuring the thrust washers as well, just making sure that I'm using, sometimes there's some slight variation between them, so I always make sure that I have two of the same width on the rear facing, because that's where all the pressure from the clutch will be. See me using a clean pair of gloves to wipe on some Cleveite assembly lube by hand. I like to do it this way instead of with a brush or anything, just because I know there's no contaminants in it. Hammering in the cam bearings. These are pretty interesting. Every single cam bearing is a different size. I make little marks with Sharpie, so I line up the oiling holes and everything perfectly and make sure there's no blockages, nothing like that. Using a high zinc lube on the camshaft. This is the original camshaft, but it is getting new tappets later, so I'm using the high zinc just to help break in those a little bit better. It's always a safe measure. You'll notice I don't have the plate on the front of the motor. That was my mistake, but we got that on later on. I just wanted to make sure the camshaft fit in. Once again, using clean gloves, just making sure there's no contaminants on those bearings whatsoever, you know. If you use some of those acid brushes, sometimes they leave little hairs and whatnot. I really don't like that, so I like to do it by hand. Dropping in the crank, I like to push the seal on right away, and then you'll see me kind of square it up with my hands. That way I can get a visual on it. I slip in the thrust washers. I know you can maybe use some chassis grease or something to hold them in, but I don't really like the idea of the thickness of the chassis grease for when I'm checking end play, so I like to just slip them in. You know, if there's any issues slipping them in, you know, possibly they're the wrong size or anything like that, you can either grind them down or sand them down if you have a jig for doing that, but that was not necessary. Spinning in the main bolts, using a speed handle because I don't like using an impact or any sort of electric wrench. I like to feel the threads and everything. These are factory bolts, so they just got a little bit of lube on, or a little bit of engine oil on them, nothing fancy. Torquing them up nice and slow to spec, following the factory torque sequence. Double checking my ring gap, make sure nothing changed with the mains torqued up because sometimes that can pull stresses somewhere else in that block. See me loading the wrist pins up inside the pistons and the rods. You know, I like to put some Cleveite assembly lube both on the wrist pin bores and on the outside of the wrist pins. Just making sure everything's coated in there real nice. You know, you don't want anything in there to be dry at all, especially on startup. Putting in the wrist pin clips. These are a pretty simple wrist pin clip to install. You can just use a pair of needle nose pliers. This is me checking the oil ring expander tension. These actually had no gap on them, so you saw me using a small pair of pliers just to squeeze the ends in a little bit. Load them up, make sure everything spins freely, you know, nothing got bent out of whack or anything like that. I did check the oil ring tension, just loaded up the oil rings on it, dropped them into the bores and moved them up and down, felt perfect, so I was happy with that. Once again, using a little bit of engine oil, spinning all the rings around, making sure everything's moving freely. These are the original pistons. We just had them coated by a third-party company. So I wanted to make sure none of that coating got into the ring lands or anything, causing a ring to bind. Using the ring expanders, installing them. Once again, just a little bit more oil. You don't need to bathe them, just enough. Spin them around, make sure there's plenty of oil on the outside and the inside of the ringland. Trying to stay as clean and organized as possible. You know, one thing I like to believe in is haste makes waste, so it's best to take your time with the process like this. Make sure everything's oriented correctly, installed correctly. This is a little method I use so I can set ring orientation. I just drop a little 1/4 inch extension through there on top of the ring compressor. That way I can use a little pick and just make sure all my ring orientation is correct. Tapping them in lightly, and then I like to push them in with my hand. That'll let me know right away if anything is binding or something like that, and I draw them down, push them down slowly onto the crankshaft journals. Just light tap, you don't need to beat them up. If you're beating them up, something's probably wrong. Either your compressor is not set to the right size or a ring is jammed up somewhere, so you got to be pretty careful with this. Using the factory rod studs, so just a little bit of engine oil on the nuts, torquing them nice and slow. You know, you don't want to jerk the torque wrench around. You can read a false torque that way, so I like to do them nice and slow. Keep an eye on the numbers. That's the nice thing about the snap-on wrench. Make sure that number is constantly increasing and you're not getting any slip or anything from somewhere else. I typically like to load up just 2 pistons at the time that are on in an inline 6 that are on the same, you know, 2 at TDC or 2 at BDC. I like to pair them up. I typically do 2 at a time and then turn it over just to make sure nothing's binding, anything like that. Right there, you can see me on number 3 and 4. I'm loading those 2 up at the same time because they're on the same stroke, even though they're 360 out. Once again, nice and slow with the torque wrench. You don't need to wail on that thing. Take it nice and slow. It'll give you the most accurate reading. Turning it over slowly, just making sure nothing sounds weird, there's no grinding or anything, you know, nothing shifted. Making sure everything feels nice and smooth, keeping an eye on the bores, making sure I deburred those rings correctly and they're not scoring up the bores, anything like that. So right here, I'm actually checking, these have the slightest little dome on them and we wanted to calculate compression ratio. So I'm checking how high that little dome, if you want to call it a dome, is above the crown of the piston. So right here I've got the head set up. I'm about to CC the number 1 chamber, so I got a spark plug in there. Spark plug. Using a nice plexi plate with a hole in it, filling it up. So I say I fill it up with 100 milliliters. I start pouring fluid in until the chamber is completely filled. I read the burette, find the difference, and that right there I have the CC, the volume of the chamber. This way I can calculate the compression ratio and just make sure everything's on point, you know, make sure it's not too high or too low. This one is pretty straightforward because we used the factory pistons, so I knew it was going to be right, but I still wanted to double check just because the block got decked and so did the head. Wanted to make sure it wasn't too high or anything like that. Cleaning off the mating surface real nice. Using a gasket, got the head on there. Also cleaned off the mating surface on the head, just dropping it down real slow, making sure those dowel pins aren't scratching up the head or anything like that. You saw me wiggle it around a little bit, making sure those dowel pins are centering up the head correctly. These are pretty interesting. You'll see later on there's 2 longer head bolts on this, so you actually have to use a bracket off the engine for 2 of the front head bolts. So that's why you saw me lay everything out nice like. It's just making sure that I realize that, oh, there are 2 longer bolts and I don't put them in the wrong position or anything like that. Right there we've got the bracket on it. That needs to be installed, otherwise the bolts will just bottom out and they won't ever make contact with the head. Once again, torquing nice and slow. Don't overthink it, just take it real nice and slow. That way you're going to get the most accurate reading and the most accurate clamp load on those bolts. We did measure these bolts. They're brand new, just made sure they were within spec. One thing I learned from building race engines for a long time is fasteners are extremely important. So that's why I take it really easy on torquing those up. You know, you want to make sure that clamp load is as spot on to those bolt specs as possible. You'll see me oiling the lifters here. I put a little bit of oil on the actual outside, but I put a bunch of that high zinc lube right on the portion of the lifter that's going to mate up with the cam. That way it just breaks in as easy as possible. A little bit of Cleveite assembly lube on all the push rods, both ends. You know, we do sim test these, so I saw someone ask, you know, do you still use assembly lube if you're sim testing? Yes, we do. It's best just to do that right away. Even though it'll all get pushed out on the sim test, everything needs to break in, so you still need that assembly lubricant. You'll see on here I actually had forgotten to put a little bit of assembly lube on top of the valves. I promise I went back and did that later. You know, we all make mistakes, nothing wrong with it, so. Put a little bit of engine oil on the bolts, just making sure they're lubed up correctly, making sure, you know, a dry on dry surface I don't really like for torquing. Just a little bit of oil, you don't have to overdo it. Just enough to let them slip a little bit. You don't want them marring up that rocker shaft or anything like that. Once again, using a speed handle, not an impact or anything like that. I like to feel the threads, especially if you're pulling a rocker shaft down like this. You know, you want to start from the middle and just work your way out. You don't want to crank down the middle all the way and then go to the outside, so you got to take it in steps, make sure you're evenly pulling that rocker shaft down, especially once the spring pressure gets behind it. Torquing everything up to manufacturer spec. This is a completely factory motor, so everything was to manufacturer spec. Checking valve lash right here. I know they make a special tool for this, but this works just fine. See me making sure I just got a little bit of tension on whatever spec I'm shooting for right there. Wiping off some of the surface oxidation for the push rod cover. This has 2 studs on it and the rest are bolts, so it kind of makes it easy to line up the gasket. What I like to do is just thread in all the bolts by hand. That way it's holding everything up, and then you'll see me pull each bolt out by hand and just put a little tiny dot of blue thread locker on it. That way nothing shifts or anything like that, and I don't have, those cork gaskets can be a little tricky, so I like to make sure the gasket is in the correct orientation. Once again, using the speed handle, not an impact. These don't get torqued much. I want to say about 36 to 38 inch-pounds. So I just kind of dial it up with the speed handle, take it easy, move from the inside out. These cork gaskets can be a little tough sometimes. They like to squish out. This one actually pulled up pretty nice, but that's why I work from the inside out. I feel that lays out the gasket best without too much squishing out at any particular point. Taking it nice and slow, especially with a cork gasket. You got to take it nice and slow. Yeah, you'll see there I got the plate on behind the camshaft, which I had missed earlier. This is the first one of these I've done, so that was just a simple little mistake, but didn't set me back too far or anything like that. And the obligatory hand wipe, because a shirt is pretty much just an oversized napkin. Don't tell my mom I said that.